Hello everyone, I'm Jaran Ibacala and I'm one of the reporter, and our topic is all about the execution of Gomburza. So Gomburza refers to the three Filipino Catholic priests, Jose Burgos, Mariano Gomez, and Jacinto Zamora, who were executed on February 17, 1872 at Bagong Bayan, Philippines by Spanish colonial authorities on charges of subversion arising from 1872 Cavite Unity. Um, Gomburza, ginamit ang pangalan ni Padre Burgos upang maghikayat ng mga sasama sa community. At Padre Burgos ay maaring may alam sa community sa kadahilanan sa kanya naghihingi ng sama ng loob at sa kanya nagkukumpisal ng mga manggagawa sa Cavite. At si Padre Zamora naman ay naidawit dahil sa sulat na tagpuan sa kanyang tinitirahan. Father Mariano Gomez de los Angeles, born on August 2, 1799 at Santa Cruz, Manila, son of Alejandro Francisco Gomez and Martina Custodio. Studied at Colegio de San Juan de Letran. He took theology in the University of Santo Tomas. Head priest of Bacoor, Cavite, and oldest in Gomburza.
My name is Carlo Buhar, pangalawang reporter ng aming group. Ang ano ko po is Jose Apolonio Burgos E. Garcia. He was born in Vigan, Ilocos Sur on February 9, 1837. Son of Don Jose Tiburcio Burgos and Florencio Garcia. He obtained 3 undergraduate degrees with honors, 2 master degrees and 2 doctorate degrees from the Colegio de San Juan de Letran and from the University of Santo Tomas. Jacinto Zamora E. del Rosario, born on August 14, 1835 at Pandacan, Manila. Son of Benencio Zamora and Hilaria del Rosario. He studied at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran, transferred to the University of Santo Tomas after finishing his Bachelor of Arts. Jacinto Zamora E. del Rosario. Zamora graduated on March 16, 1858 with the degree of Bachelor of Canon and Civil Law. Zamora Fatal's vice was pagiging popular card game or heated priest of Marikina. Jacinto Zamora del Rosario, Father Jacinto Zamora, was accused because of the letter delivered to him. Grand reunion over friends are well provided with the power of administration.
Hello everyone, I am Tofi Ivan Abla, one of the reporters of Execution of Gomburza. The Cavite Mutiny of 1872. The Cavite Mutiny of 1872 was an uprising of Filipino military personnel of Fort San Felipe, the Spanish arsenal in Cavite, on 20th day of January, year 1872. Yung nakita niyo pong picture sa ibaba, yan po yung Arsenal of Cavite or store. Sergeant Fernando Lamadrid. Their leader was Fernando Lamadrid, was a mestizo sergeant with his second in command General Brent Sr. A. Moreno. Filipino soldiers and laborers of Cavite Arsenal turned out to be dissatisfied because of the abolition of their privileges. Signal being the firing of rockets from the city walls on that night, they seized Fort San Felipe and killed 11 Spanish officers. A burst of fireworks in celebration of the feast of Our Lady of Loreto, the patron of Sampaloc, leads to a false alarm. A regiment led by General Felipe Genoves besieged the fort until the mutineers surrendered. Genoves then ordered his troops to fire at those who surrendered, including La Madrid. Some Filipino soldiers were disarmed and later sent into exile on the southern island of Mindanao. Those suspected of directly supporting the mutineers were arrested and executed, including the Gomburza. This is the garrote. Ito yung ginamit dun. This is the thing used to kill the people. And kasama na dun yung Gomburza. Spanish version of the Cavite Mutiny of 1872 by Jose Montero y Vidal. Jose Montero y Vidal is a Spanish historian and most knowledgeable of the Spanish historians in the Philippines. And he is also known as because of his three major historical works. In the beginning of the year 1872, the authorities received anonymous communications with the information that a great uprising would break out against the Spaniards. And the garrison of Manila, composed mostly of native soldiers, were involved in this conspiracy as well as multitude of civilians. And on January 20, 1872, the preconcerted signal among the conspirators of Cavite and Manila was the firing of rockets from the walls of the city. In the district of Sampaloc, the fiesta of the patron saint, the Virgin of Loreto, was being celebrated with pomp and splendor. The military governor of Cavite, D. Fernando Rojas, dispatched 2 of Spaniards to inform the Manila authorities of the uprising. D. Domingo Mijares, an employee of the arsenal, left Cavite in a war vessel for Manila. Early the next morning, 2 regiments under the command of D. Felipe Genoves, Segundo Cabo, left for Cavite on board the merchant vessels Filipino, Manila, Isabela I and Isabela II. Genoves waited the whole day of the 21st for the rebels to surrender. Early in the morning of the 22nd, putting to the sword the majority of the rebels and making prisoners of the rest, and officially announced the suppression of the revolt. The Council of War passed the sentence of death on 41 of the rebels. On the 6th of February, 11 more were sentenced to death, but the Governor-General commuted this sentence to life imprisonment. On the 8th of February, Camerino was sentenced to death and 11 individuals of the famous Guias de la Torre was imprisoned for 10 years for the assassination of the Spaniard. On the 15th of February, Filipino priest was sentenced to death by strangulation. D. Jose Burgos, D. Jacinto Zamora, D. Mariano Gomez, and Francisco Saldua. And dito na nga yung this is the date where the Gomburza were executed. And 10 years imprisonment was sentenced to Maximo Inocencio, Enrique Paraiso, and Crisanto de los Reyes. On the 17th of February, an immense multitude appeared on the field of Bagong Bayan to witness the execution of the sentence. The attending force was composed of Filipino troops ready to fire upon the least sign of uprising. Gomez was executed first, then Zamora, then Burgos, and lastly Saldua. On the 3rd of April 1872, the audiencia suspended from the practice of law the following men: D. Jose Basa y Enriquez, D. Joaquin Pardo de Tavera, D. Antonio Ma Regidor, D. Pedro Carrillo, D. Gervasio Sanchez, and D. Jose Mauricio de Leon. Izquierdo has requested the sending to Manila of Spanish troops for the defense of the fort, as most of these found here were natives. On April 4, 1872, the government dissolved the native regiment of artillery and ordered the creation of an artillery force to be composed exclusively of Peninsulares.
These are relevance of and contribution of the execution of Gomburza. El Filibusterismo is a novel that Jose Rizal created and dedicated to the Gomburza frieze. This execution led the rise of the book El Filibusterismo that will open our minds and heart that colonization will be end. This event was tragic out served as one of the moving forces that shaped Filipino nationalism. It adds to the awakening of nationalism, eventually to the outbreak of Philippine Revolution of 1896. The Filipino clergy members actively participated in the circularization movement in order to allow Filipino priests to take hold of the parishes in the country, making them free to the range of freezers. Filipinos during the time were active participants and responded to what they deemed of injustice, and the execution of Gomburza was a blunder on the part of the Spanish government, and for the action served the ill feelings of the Filipinos and event inspired Filipino patriots to call for reforms and eventually independence. Thank you po.